So the other day we watched a film called Milk and Cereal, and this was the first thing that I had watched by Curry Barker, even though he had done some shorts, which I didn't know he did because I didn't know he did anything horror.
Yeah.
I had come across these guys' channel quite a few times over the years, just getting sent clips here or there, or them popping up in the feed, and I always thought they were funny, and, you know, they had memorable faces and skits, and so when it was told to us that they had made a movie, I was like, okay, cool, I'll check it out. It's found footage, perfect. We watched it, we loved it.
We did.
And people were like, well, you got to check out their shorts as well. And I was like, okay, absolutely, why not? Let's check them out. So we watched The Chair.
Yep.
We watched Warnings, Enigma, Heavy Eyes, We Don't Feel Pain. Now, We Don't Feel Pain is like, I think their first kind of like tester. Like, it's kind of like this skit that skews more horror. As to where, like, Heavy Eyes, I feel like it's their first attempt at an actual, like, short, and that one's only like 5 minutes long. But then you get into The Chair, and that's like a legit short.
Yes.
Like,
20 minutes.
yeah, it has a full story
Yeah.
to it. So this got me thinking, after having watched all of these and being really impressed with all of them.
Yeah.
Is Curry Barker the next big name in horror?
Perhaps.
And I think yes, and I want to talk about it. So let's get into it. So, number one, what I was really taken by with this is that the guy has unlimited range. And what I mean by that is that he wrote, he directed, he starred, he did the music for, all of these things for the most part, right? And in addition to that, so when we're going through all of these, he's done horror, he's done comedy, right? Comedy is his main shtick, but he does horror super well from what I've seen. He seems to really love and understand the genre, you know, very much. Comedy, obviously, is his niche, right? That's what he really, really excels at, because that's what his channel is built on. That's how they've gotten the following that they do. They've done drama in here, which is the Enigma one, which is, you know, psychological kind of thing, but there's a lot of drama in it. And this is not to take away from Cooper Tomlinson as well, who does this stuff with him, and he actually wrote Enigma.
I actually think that they're both really wonderful actors, and I think that they play off of each other really well. And I really, really liked Enigma. I thought it was very well written, very well acted, and it was great.
Yeah. So I just feel like his range is there in every regard.
Yeah,
he
I
can
agree.
handle drama, he can handle comedy, he can handle horror, he can write all of them very well, he can act in all of them very well, as does Cooper. He does the music for them, he does some edit, you know, I think he does the editing for them. Like, he's a one-man freaking wrecking crew. This guy can do anything. And so it really made me think, like, okay, if you can make this kind of movie, and you were to be given a budget,
Yeah.
you know, because these guys are making this on nothing. These are shoestring budgets. If he was to actually be given something with, you know, a budget, because he knows horror, because he's funny, because they really can land their dramatic parts, there's no limit to what can be done with this, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a spot where he's not excelling, right? Because, like, there's people who can do one and that's their niche, and they kind of just hover in that area, and when they try to tiptoe out of there, when they try to come out of their comfort zones, they struggle. And with him, the sky's the limit. And because of that, that means that he can really have a wide array of titles, not only in horror, but even within horror. If he only wanted to do horror, he can do so many different types of horror. He can do blended horror, he can do drama horror, he can do horror comedies, he can do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he has no limits to his range in what he's doing. And then if you look at something like The Chair, he's working with actors, he's not even in that one, and he got great performances out of, you know, I don't know their filmography, if they've done anything before. I've never seen any of those people before. He was able to get great performances out of them as well. So he's a great director with actors.
Yeah.
He's a great at directing his own stuff with him, right? Because he knows how to act off of his stuff. Him and Cooper have worked together enough that they know how to play off. But everyone else in that film, within Milk and Cereal, his big feature so far, he got great performances out of everyone in that. They feel very authentic. They feel very real.
Yeah.
Same thing with The Chair. He has other actors performing his material, and he gets a great performance out of them. Then he steps away and puts himself behind the camera and lets Cooper take the front of the camera, and he's able to get a great performance out of him and work with his work as opposed to his own work. So he's very versatile in that way, where he can work with Cooper's work and he can work with his own work, right? Yeah. So he's really good at collaboration as well. So to me, the guy has no weaknesses, and this is why I think he has such a promising career to look out for.
Yeah, I think it would be wonderful to see, I know he already did a feature, obviously, but, to see what he could do with the budget. Yeah. The two of them, honestly, because I think that they work really well together. Mm-hmm. And obviously, making a film with a larger budget, it involves working with a lot of different types of people in different roles, so it just would be interesting to see how that plays out, because I think that we've seen this before, and I'm not saying this is necessarily the case, but sometimes people do better on a small budget.
Yes.
And a small crew, because you can control everything, and you have a lot of just creative power over what you want the outcome to be.
Absolutely.
But that obviously isn't always the case when you get production companies involved and all kinds of stuff. So
some people are better at navigating that than others.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Some people know how to play within the system and figure it out and work alongside of producers. And some of them have luck, some of them have skill. But you're right. Some people just, when they get a budget, they either run into production issues with the producers who are not vibing with them and not letting them have their vision, and there's a lot of pushback. They're working with actors they're not familiar with. I'm sure Curry knows most of these people that he works with really intimately, really well, and so it's a really nice working condition. And then when you're working with actors you don't know, and the pressure's on you, and there's this money hanging over your head when you're making something with no money, there's not a lot of pressure. As to where when there's producers that are coming on set every day and pushing you and being well, we better see a return.
Yeah,
we better see,
it's definitely a different environment to be in. But what I really like from the shorts too is that you can see a really clear style in his horror, which it's not really Mike Flanagan esque, but it sort of reminds me of that way in some sense, where it's I feel in the Heavy Eyes and The Chair especially, I feel the horror in those, it has a very clear style to it, like I said, and also in the two found footage, because I think that we Can't Feel Pain and Milk and Cereal, obviously found footage sort of style, and I like that there's some just similarities in how they feel to me.
Yeah.
But I really love the horror in The Chair and in Heavy Eyes.
Yeah.
They were freaky. It was really scary at times.
Yeah, he does horror very well. He's got a good eye for nightmarish dream sequences as well, which we get in Warnings, which is a really interesting thing that I'm still trying to figure out what it was trying to say. But definitely watch all of his shorts.
Yeah.
And I'm watching his short comedy series that they just started as well, these detectives. Really enjoying that. Looking forward to the 3rd episode.
We also watched the parody that they did for Talk to Me, which was really fun.
Yeah. I've watched a ton of videos since.
I haven't watched as many, but I know we watched that one together, and I thought that was really funny.
But if we were, comparing this to other things, obviously we've had people who make shorts and then they get budgets. We've got the
for Lights Out.
Lights Out is probably one of the most obvious go-tos because that was such a successful like 5-minute short that got a budget, and he's went off to have an incredible career since then.
Recently, the director of Oddity, we went through all of his shorts on YouTube.
That's a great comparison.
And then Oddity came out.
It's a great comparison.
Well, there's Oddity's not the first, obviously, but Caveat was pretty successful for most people, and Oddity was really, really
It's
good.
a really good comparison. I actually think, with his shorts, you could compare it very closely with the director of Oddity and Caveat. But most recently, we haven't even seen it yet. Some people have, but most people haven't. There's a lot of pressure right now on Chris Stuckman, who crowdfunded his first film, Shelby Oaks, which is coming out sometime this year. It's playing the festival circuit right now. It's going to be playing at Fear Fest? Is it Fear Fest? They played at Fantasia Fest. That's where it premiered, and then I think like Fear Fest is the one that's playing this weekend in like the UK. But there's a lot of pressure on that movie, right? Because he was a critic, and because he, asked so many people for money, and everyone's like really looking to that, But with Curry and company, they just took their found footage idea and they made it for their own budget for a very, very small amount. And Curry was kind enough to, and Cooper came into our comments and commented and said, thanks for the kind words. And he said, we are working on something bigger within the horror genre right now, kind of like a wink, wink. So I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know if he has like an actual studio film that he's currently working on. This guy's freaking busy, man. Talk about like he's doing shorts. And he's doing like a comedy series right now with like 10-minute episodes a piece. He's doing the movie. He's doing, he's all over the goddamn place. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, this is all he does, which is great. And I wish I could get there as well. But I just, when I was watching his stuff and I was really looking at all the evidence that I had, I was just like, I really think with the resources he's had and what he's been able to accomplish. But you never know. I mean, we'll see what happens. I hope he gets a budget, and I hope that he blows us all away, and I hope that he continues to keep making film. And if he wants to make a comedy, if he wants to make a drama, if he wants to make a horror, if he wants to make a blend of any of those, I'm here for all of them. I think he can nail any one of those. So he might not just be a big name in horror, but he could also have a career just in film in general, which I would love to see. So I very much look forward to seeing, because obviously Jordan Peele went from comedy to horror and has had a wildly successful career in horror now. The director David Gordon Green, who was doing like Pineapple Express and stuff like that, went on to do Halloween trilogy and the Exorcist movie, and there's Danny McBride, of course, is one that was like writing some of the Halloween movies. There's tons of comedians that go towards horror, because we had talked about in our review how similar comedy and horror are to one another. And I just feel like Curry, I feel very strongly after having watched all of this stuff that he is going to be a breakout name that kind of came out of nowhere for people, because I didn't know he did anything with horror until this week. But now I'm glad that I found it now, so that I can see some of his previous stuff and really appreciate it and shine a spotlight on it. And I just really hope that a producer can jump on this right now. If you were smart and you had the money and you had a production company, I would be tracking this guy down and giving him a sizable budget, for something. I would love for him to do like a VHS segment. That was something we had discussed. I think that would be really cool for him to do in the next like VHS movie that they do, not Beyond, which is already made and is coming out like in a month or two. But like the one after that, they're gonna do like 20 more of those fucking things. They're endless, I guess. But I want him to have a budget. I want to see what he can do with like at least $1 million. I would be super curious to see, because that's how we got Saw. right? James Wan and Lee Winnell made this like little 6-minute short. I think that's how long it was. I can't remember how long it was, but then they just kind of like shopped it around to producers and were like, I have a full script if you want. And they gave them $1 million. And now we have James Wan and we have Lee Winnell.
Yeah.
And they went off and, you know, did The Conjuring and Insidious and Upgrade and freaking, you know, they're Malignant and so many other titles. I mean, go on and on.
So many.
So I feel very strongly. I've never made a video like this before. We've never made a video like this before where I'm like, this is the next talent. This is the next talent. I just feel, I feel very strongly about it. And
prediction.
Prediction. But more of just like a call out, like to anybody out in the community who has any ties to anything. This guy needs to be making films. We need to definitely be, propping him up and getting him what he needs to make the next great horror film.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there's so much fucking talent in here. It's insane.
Yeah.
In every one of these. I see it all over the place. And I'm just so impressed.
I agree.
So I was very compelled to make this. The Milk and Cereal movie now has 241,000 views. So it's got 250,000 views, which is good. Warnings has like 1 million. The Chair has 5.5 million. So that's easily his most successful video so far. I really hope Milk and Cereal catches on and gets that kind of viewership to it. But as I had said in the previous video, he needs to get this on Blu-ray. And, hopefully this will be something that will be like on other platforms like Shudder or something. Because more eyes in the horror community need to be on this. I'm trying to like spread the word and get this out there. And there's still only like 4 reviews on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like I thought maybe we would get way more, but I've checked and there's only like 2 more reviews since we put one out.
I bet there's more on like TikTok and Instagram.
That's
like
what we're hearing. Yeah, a lot of
because,
TikTok reviews.
Yeah, which makes sense because obviously they do a lot of shorts that I assume are probably also on those platforms. So
we got to get on this TikTok thing, man.
Yeah.
I'm talking about it like it came out like this week.
It's
been around for a while. But anyways, all right. Well, that's all I have to say about that. That's anything more?
No.
All right. Well, we'll see you in the comments. Bye.
Bye.